And we are live. What is going on, everyone? And welcome back to a live edition of the Star Wars Exchanges Mandalorian After Show. Wow, lot to talk about. This is almost an emergency podcast for us because we just didn't know what to say about this episode and this series anymore. So we thought, let's go live and talk to the people about how they're feeling, because not everyone feels the way we're feeling. Some people are loving it. Some people like us, though, and are super lost with this show. I don't know where it's taken us. Mike, how are you going this week? And before we talk Mando, tell us, how was your weekend? Because you had quite the wild time.
If it isn't the quack the calling the stiffling slimy. Crazy. No, it was a great weekend. Nice to have Mando back, I guess. Somewhat. Someone enjoyed this episode, but I had a great weekend with all my little Instagram friends and stuff, and we went to it's actually a part of Ari's friend group too, but he's in Australia, so he couldn't make it. But we all the main friend group, we all went to Chicago C2E2, and we just had a great time. Met James Arnold Taylor, who voices Obi-Wan in Clone Wars and Spark a Rebellion of Rebels, and you can see I have an autograph from him. Crazy experience. You guys are going to get a podcast about all that stuff coming soon. Attended the 15th anniversary of the Clone Wars cast reunion thing, they of just the 15th anniversary special, and then even talked to Matt Lanter and told him a funny story, and then who voices Anakin, of course, and then hugged Ashley Eckstein, who's Ahsoka Tano. Just had an overall amazing time, even though, it's not a Star Wars Celebration type panel type stuff where it's like you get news and stuff. It was okay. It was my favorite con experience ever. Like, that was just awesome, even though it wasn't like a Star Wars Celebration or anything. So I just had the most fun there. So yeah, can I'll be talking about it soon with all my friends, and as Austin's here in the chat with us, I'll be talking in a podcast, about all our experiences. So yeah, tune in to that. But until then, Ari, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Definitely not as good as you, because it sounds like and looks like an absolutely wild weekend. If you want to go check out some of the stuff Mike was up to, go on his Instagram, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I'm doing good. Besides Mandalorian being probably the worst Styles has been ever, I'm doing all right now. I'm here for the smoke. What can I say? Nah, no, I'm doing all right though. But let's just talk about this episode or this
Fair.
series, wherever your thoughts take you, Mike. What are you thinking after episode 6 of The Mandalorian? And as we said in our promotion, what the hell is Jon Favreau smoking?
Oh my. Well, he's smoking at some cantina, and who knows what type of spice he's smoking. Maybe it was really that strong substance that they have on Kessel, you know? Maybe the one the Martez sisters dropped in hyperspace. Could have
Spice,
been that
yeah.
one. Could have
Yep.
been that one. But I don't really know. I mean, overall this episode I was like, okay. I checked like 5 times to see when it was going to be over, because those definitely had that campy thing, and I was like, okay, that's cool. I love camp in Star Wars, but it was just over the top
Mm.
goofiness and silliness where I'm like, this is the same series where Luke came down the hallway and, like, emotionally cut down droids, while then we had this emotional goodbye with Din and Grogu, and this is the same series as that, as whatever was going on with Jack Black and Lizzo, and
Oh
it
my
was
god.
it was just crazy. It felt like a fever dream. It felt like something straight out of Star Wars Legends. This whole story, it felt like a Clone Wars episode 2 with Anakin and Ahsoka playing police, and they were, hunting down nano droids, and apparently, like, droids carry and let's read this comment here for everybody. Ringmaster, who also know as a friend, from Instagram, he says John Favreau had a few too many drinks at the droid bar. Yeah, I
Yes,
think
he
so too.
did.
I think
I think
that
he
set.
did.
He got carried away at that set. Was like, let's make this a full functioning bar, and he took it away. He did during rewrites. He went all in.
And
But
and
yeah.
no disrespect to the Mando actors, but whoever was playing Mando when he was kicking those droids, he looked really drunk as well. It's like,
Oh my
oh,
gosh.
oh, it's like, what am I
Uh,
watching? My eyes. Oh my god.
Ari's eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For me, this episode just I don't think I'll be rewatching it anytime soon. I like the Bo-Katan and Din duo for sure. I think that was the highlight of the episode, but it just was executed poorly. And I mean, seeing battle droids again in live action was great. I mean, but that doesn't satisfy me. It's like, yay, droids. Okay, cool. But there was
Yeah.
just no substance there besides like,
Yeah.
oh my God, they're going to take over the entire city. It's like, this is Mando's about to wrap up the season 3. We waited like almost 2 years for this, or 3 years.
Mm,
And this is what we're doing right now. This feels like something that's done in Bad Batch. I'm like, this is what
yeah.
we're doing right now. So not a fan, not a fan. But
It's like the droids. It's like if you like eating the icing by itself on a cake, you're kind of weird, but that's fine if you want to eat icing, because watching this show and enjoying it feels like just eating icing.
for
I
sure.
like my icing on a cake, and I like there to be something in there. I like the meat, the substance, but there is no cake. We're just eating icing at this point.
What kind of cake are you having that has meat? Crab cake?
No, not meat. That was a bad example, but you know what I mean.
Gotcha. Yes.
I don't like eating potatoes by themselves. I like meat and potatoes. Actually, that's a lie. I do like eating potatoes by themselves, but still,
Interesting.
you
Yeah.
all get what I'm saying. Yeah. Anything else to add?
No, I want to hear. So, did you say your thoughts already? Those are your thoughts.
No, I'll elaborate. So the campiness, I want to say, was great, and it almost felt like a prequel Clone Wars flashback, and I was like, cool. I like that. I vibe with that side of the episode. Like, the episode by itself isn't actually that bad. Oh, it's pretty bad, but it's not that bad.
No,
But
right.
it just is a great reflection of where the show is at right now, I would say, which is in no man's land. The celebrity cameos were borderline embarrassing, in the sense that it felt like Jon Favreau wanted to do these people a favor. I got nothing against Lizzo, Christopher Lloyd, or Jack Black. They're all, great people, whatever. But why are we why are we watching Jon Favreau do a favor to Lizzo and put them in Star Wars? So I don't know. I on that side of things, definitely didn't vibe with it. Just the whole episode just felt like, what am I watching? What the actual F am I watching? And the last 5 minutes, I think that was really my breaking point in terms of solidifying the fact that this show has no idea where it's going, and has no idea what it wants to say. It has no idea what it's doing. It just thought, all right, Bo-Katan, she can have the dark saber now. It's like any moment that they try to make impactful just is so unearned and falls so flat on its face. There's no one has any emotional investment in this show. Not nobody, but a large majority of people watching it. There's no emotional investment. I don't care what happens to any of these characters anymore, because I just think we're past that point. And I'm very interested to see what they do with these next 2 episodes. Maybe
Yeah,
they'll shut people like me up, or maybe they're just going to prove people like me right. So
yeah, you're
yeah,
right. Because what if Bo-Katan or even Din died in this episode? Would you even care?
no,
I wouldn't either. There's no
there's no reason to.
even Grogu. I would have been like, okay,
I would have been like, thank God we don't have to cut to Grogu every episode going like,
flying around. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy.
Also, what was that noise that I just made? Did that sound like Grogu?
That sounded like Waddle dying slowly.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's fair.
Let's go through some comments real quick though.
Yes.
Our good friend John says, "This was the first time I needed to pause the episode to pour a glass of Jack Daniels, because yikes." I'm right there with you, John.
I'm
right
with
there
there.
with
It was
you.
too early for me, John, but I was with you. I'm like, if John Favreau could do it this early, so can I.
Yeah. Exactly right. Austin says, also, I don't think Lizzo and Jack Black don't belong in Star Wars. I low-key think they were wasted with these characters. Yeah, exactly. Like, you
Yeah,
can do celebrity
right.
cameos, but why did it have to be so awkward and clunky? And
Right.
I don't know.
No, I love Jack Black, and I like
Yeah, me too.
absolutely love Lizzo's online presence. Like every time I see like a
Mm,
video of her, I just laugh. Like I'm like, okay.
mm,
Like, do I listen to every song that she comes out with? No, but I listen to like the ones that kind of everyone knows, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's cool. Um, when she was singing like out of a using a presidential flute not too long ago at like some White House event in the U.S. Like I thought it was funny. I'm like, there's no way she's using a flute and she's just like, and she's twerking with it. Like I thought it was the funniest thing. I was like, what? So I just feel like she, as Austin said here, I feel like she was wasted, and so was Jack Black. I would have
yeah.
killed to see Jack Black in Star Wars, but it was
Oh,
just it felt
absolutely.
so over the top goofiness. But I'm like, it just feels like we were doing an SNL skit or something,
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of
like a
people throw that
parody.
around, and it's
Yeah,
very fair because it did
that's what
feel like that. It felt
it
like
felt
a
like a
parody
Star
on
Wars
Star
parody.
Wars.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
not
I
cool.
think, and it's ironic hearing saying that it was a parody because in the behind the scenes season 1 gallery, Taika Waititi said, oh, was it Taika or it might have been John? Someone said Star Wars is not serious, but it takes itself seriously. You know what I mean? Like it's aware that I don't. I'm probably misquoting there, but it was something along those lines. And this was just goofy, just over the top. Like I I don't know what's happening anymore. I don't know what's happening. And quick confession: I don't really know anything about Lizzo. I know that they're a person that exists, but I had no idea that was them until I saw it on Twitter. Jack Black, though, I was like, is that Jack Black? Like, what is going on right
It's
now?
Nacho
What
Libre.
am I
Yeah.
watching?
And
Yeah,
he's having a big week. It's Super Mario Bros. Week for him. He plays
yeah,
Bowser in that movie, and he also got to star in Mandalorian. I mean, guy's having a great week, but he could have an even better week if this episode was cool.
oh man,
Which I feel sorry for him.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't. I'm not. If you're watching live with us, what did you guys think of the episodes? We're very keen and happy to read your comments online because I told Ari, I was like, why don't we do a live? Because I don't want this to sound a repetition of us, disliking the episode or
exactly.
whatnot. We just wanted to
Yeah,
have a community update or a wellness check with everyone and be like, let's check in with everyone. How are you guys feeling about the Mandalorian
yeah,
series? Because I saw the entire online presence today either shift their beliefs or really stagger down. Some people on Twitter stagger down where they are, like holding the fort, being like,
yeah.
"No, the
Honestly,
Mandalorian
some
is the
people on
best."
Twitter, Din Djarin could sit on the toilet for 40 minutes and they would still love the episode. I'm just putting it out there. It's fine if you're liking it, but the justification of some of the stuff going on in this show is just, it's mind-boggling to me. It is genuinely mind-boggling. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, just wanted to put that out there.
fair enough.
Yeah,
But yeah, like I don't know. For me, like I said, there's tons of things to discuss in this episode that I did like, but then it just overall, like, we're on the 6th episode. This is the episode before the penultimate episode, and it's like this is what we're doing. If you go back for
yeah,
Mandalorian season 2, the 6th episode, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Boba Fett episode where he gets introduced and baby Yoda, Grogu gets abducted. And then for season 1, I'm pretty sure
yeah,
episode 6 was the prison episode. So it's
mhm,
like, damn, we had bangers.
yeah.
We had
Prison
bangers there.
episode, bang up, very controversial opinion, but we'll take it. Better than this.
No, I love that episode. I will unabashedly always love that episode and sing its praises. And the
Yeah.
Boba Fett
Well, so, you know
episode,
who
the
directs that
tragedy,
episode?
next to perfection.
Rick Famuyiwa directs
Uh,
that prison episode, and you know who's directing the next 2 episodes of
yeah,
the season is Rick Famuyiwa. So that'll be very interesting to see
Rick.
because
Yeah.
I really didn't like the first episode of season 3, but now looking back, I'm like, honestly, take me back to that first episode. So it'll be interesting to see if he can, as you were saying before, stick the landing, or if the plane's just going to come crashing down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very grim time, I think. I don't want to be dramatic, but it's just because at the end of the day, this is entertainment and it's supposed to be fun. But it's just
Yeah.
like, well, you're not doing fun, and this ultimately can change. I don't want to be dramatic again. This ultimately can change the course of Star Wars for the next couple of years. So,
Yeah.
it's always good to sit and have these moments where we just talk about what the hell, man.
What the hell? And yeah, as Mike said, we didn't want to come in here, especially for me. I feel like because the last 2 weeks I've been preaching sort of the same thing, and um, that I haven't shifted on that at all. If anything, it's just been solidified. So my thoughts are very much the same. The show, I feel like it lacks any meaningful direction. It's extremely unfocused, and yeah, that any attempt at impact just falls completely flat on its face. And especially in this
Yeah.
episode, I found, first of all, why did Bo-Katan have to win the Darksaber in the middle of a park, which was wild to me. The show visually just has not done it for me since maybe season 2, earlier on in it. And yeah, that moment just felt like a less satisfying version of what we saw in Rebels. Do you agree
Oh
with that?
yeah, yeah. I 100%. The way it was done in Rebels was a little bit more well done than that. It was From the music to the scenery to, I mean, you just had when Bo-Katan retook the dark saber, they were just standing around confused. I'm like, is this new to you guys? Like, is this new rule new to you guys? Like, they just didn't bow down, didn't they supposedly this thing is sacred or whatever, but they just look confused as
Yeah,
ever. I'm pretty
exactly.
sure the general audience was just confused, like, what the hell is going
Yeah,
on
we were
here?
all that confused.
Because I mean, I was kind of confused, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Also, I feel like her winning it on a technicality is just not a compelling story to tell.
no,
Was anyone satisfied by that? Because I definitely wasn't. It's
it
like, oh, but
undoes
remember in episode 2, well, technically she owned. It's like, great,
it
unentertained.
undoes it undoes a lot of what the season 2 finale. What is the issue? Like, they just keep on doing things that
Yeah, that they
season 2
set up that we
finale,
thought would have a good payoff.
it just happened to be like, oh, Din gets, or even the Book of Boba Fett stuff that we learned with Din about him having the dark saber, about him even fighting Paz Vizsla for it, and him surviving that fight. It was just like, I'm keeping it. It's not going back to your lineage. I'm keeping it. I'm gonna be the new
Yeah.
wielder. And then it just goes back to Bo-Katan just in a conversation. I don't understand. What was the point of Din having it then? I feel like something happened where John Favreau woke up the next day and was like, you know what? This is some Bo-Katan season. Like, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
give the dark saber to her. That all the focus, Katie Sackhoff.
He's going, you know what? I don't think Din should have it anymore. I'll just change that. I'll just go back and
Right.
change that. It's like, is that what we're doing now? Okay.
And I think as John says here in the YouTube comments, he says the conflict between Axe Wolves and Bo would have been interesting to see, but it only lasted like 5 minutes, unfortunately. Yeah,
Yeah, not wrong. Not wrong at all. And man, I don't know if it's the acting or if it's the writing. I'm gonna shift my blame towards the writing,
definitely the
but
writing. Yeah,
yeah, the acting just feels so wooden in this series. Like, man, especially Mike actually said it before, so I don't want to steal this take from him. But that opening scene with the Mon Calamari coming over and saying that they were in love with the other one, that was the weirdest thing I've seen in Star Wars. It felt like watching Star Trek in the 80s, and that sometimes is a good thing, but in this instance, it was not.
did you credit me there? That I
Yeah,
said that? Okay, cool.
yeah.
Sorry. I
Were
was
you
just reading
listening?
comments. I was, but I just missed that part, so I was reading comments. My fault.
No, definitely credit. I can't speak anymore. Oh, this
Credit.
episode's got
Yeah.
me speechless.
Yeah.
Ah,
And even Austin in the comments says, if anyone hates on y'all, just think of how much I like this season, and I am still upset with the episode. LMAO. Yeah.
yep, yep,
I'm telling you, I've just seen this like social media reaction where people are just not happy. People are like, what the F is this show doing? And people that have loved the series up to this point, loved all the episodes, even in Book of Boba
yep.
Fett, they're like, what is the show doing? Or people even woke up and smelled the coffee today and we're like, damn, Bad Batch. Not only did Bad Batch on the weeks that it was airing with Mandalorian make Mandalorian look, less of a series because of how good the
Mhm.
Bad Batch episodes were. But now that Bad Batch is gone, Mando looks just bad,
It just
without the
looks
cover of
bad.
Bad Batch. So
Yeah,
people are like, man, I miss Bad Batch.
yeah. Jack
Um,
Black was damn near laughing during the scene with Christopher Lloyd. We were all laughing, honestly.
oh, Christopher Lloyd. I mean, like, if it was only Christopher Lloyd up in there, would have loved it because I remember Ari and I reacted to the news of Christopher Lloyd being in this season. I don't know when it was, Ari, but I don't know when
Would
we
have been
covered it.
a while ago.
It had
I
to
was
be,
thinking like 6 months ago or something.
yeah, it had to be
Yeah,
6 months ago. Um, Which I'm like, "Oh, wait, this was before your trip here to the US for before Anaheim," but no, it's not. It would have to be after
yeah.
6,
Couldn't
yeah.
have been that long.
Anyways, Christopher Lloyd, so excited to see him in here, and I thought it was pretty cool. I mean, I laughed when Bo-Katan shot him, stunned him, when he started going off about Count Dooku, and she just, like, shocked him and was like, "Politics." I thought that was funny. I was like, "Okay, that is, like, campy funny," and I was like, "I'll accept that." But then there's also a side of me, it's like, why are we name dropping? Like, you obviously established the series to be to the newcomers to Star Wars. Why are we dropping hardcore references like that, like Aduku, battle droids, and not even explain ourselves, or even have Bo-Katan react or tell Din, be like, oh my god, you know what? I served under Count. I actually served with Count Dooku for a bit before things went haywire, and then he led the Separatist army. Like they had no problem, reiterating things that happened in the original trilogy or showing all these original trilogy characters. But it's like, why can't we explain some stuff when it needs to be explained, so the audience could have context, or even just Bo-Katan talking about Dooku and having a partnership with him, because she could sit there and be like, I haven't seen droids since the Clone Wars. It's like, great, Bo. Neither have we. you know?
Exactly.
So
And as Austin says, his character being a Dooku stan was just random and out of place. Like
I know.
it just
That's what I'm saying.
it
It
was like,
was
oh,
just
okay. Like
telling you, it could have been a Bad Batch episode. It was just random. It was like if it was the third episode of the season, I would have been like, all right, this was a weird episode. I don't know how I feel. Where's the season gonna go? It feels directionless, great. But we just hit the wall. Like, this is just us. The speeder bike went off, where the Ewok, and we just took off on it, but we rammed a tree. And now
yeah,
the forest is on fire. Like, it's
yeah,
just we're running away from it, being like, well, what's next?
pretty much.
It's
Pretty
embarrassing.
much.
Like, I don't even want to hear what my really my casual friends or my casual Star Wars friends, casual Star Wars friends, and I don't even want to hear what they think about this episode. It's like when your sports team, has like a fluky game. It's like, nope, don't want to hear it. Yep, I know how they played. Great. Let's talk about next week.
Yeah,
So,
no, exactly. And yeah, we're just in here giving our mid takes on Star Wars. So put your comments in, let us know, what did you think? Give us some good takes. But yeah, we've got another one from Austin. Did John Favreau forget he wrote an entire sub arc for Din, no longer hating droids? Why in this episode did Din hate droids again? Out of necessity or what? Exactly. It's like that was just forgotten. But I thought we'd overcome that. We went through that in season 1 and season 2, and it's like, and now we're just like, oh, okay.
yeah,
I,
like,
I guess he hates droids again.
I'm confused by that.
Yeah.
Pete says, "Oh, hi, Pete, aka Plo. He says,
I bet.
love this week's Star Wars theme SNL skit. Yep, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that's it.
We addressed it at the top. It felt like an SNL skit. Um, I don't like. I mean, look, I'm telling you, I like the Bo and Din duo, and it felt like Anakin and Ahsoka going around, mission of the week, trying to see what's up. We have all these people that have come by through the Jedi Order. We have so many people here, but we gotta always call on Anakin and Ahsoka, or Obi-Wan and Anakin and Ahsoka, to do all the important stuff. It's like, and it was so goofy. The storyline was that Din and Bo, before they could talk to their own people, they had to solve, droid problems for them, which was so weird. And then they were talking about, like, then they found like a tag on one of the droids, like, oh, this one belongs. He's from this cantina. And then Din was threatening the droid, and it was just goofy. And then you had this whole thing about the nano droids, and it's weird. It's mind boggling. I felt like I missed like 8 steps before we got there. It was just
Yeah.
goofy.
I feel like I just lost brain cells watching it, honestly.
I don't know. Like, yeah, it was, and it sucks because it was Bryce Dallas Howard. Like, she's done like
True. Yeah.
and obviously the writing's not her, it's the directing, but it's like, I don't even know how I would be able to direct this. I mean, that sounds pretentious because I'm not a director or anything, but it's just like, I feel
Yeah.
sorry for her, because she made we've seen that story trope so many times, that where villagers are trained to shoot down the invading enemy and stuff. We've seen that
Yep.
trope so many times, and Bryce Dallas Howard delivered an exciting episode in that, what it is with, and even with Cara Dune's wooden acting. She was able to deliver a nice solid episode in episode 4, and that felt riveting and stuff. And then even with the Bo-Katan episode in season 2, that one's my favorite of her so far. And then she did the Din episode in Book of Boba Fett. So I don't.
Yeah.
This was this just felt, yeah. I feel like they were just like, we don't know how we're gonna do this episode, but we're gonna give Bryce the challenge because they always talk about how they love giving Bryce Dallas Howard like the challenging episodes, and it's like they really threw her curveball this time.
Yeah.
Poor
That's
Bryce.
that's such a weird thing to say. Yeah, like we just love making it hard for people. It's like, okay, that's a weird flex, but okay. Um, but yeah, it has been weird just seeing like the shift of at least people on the internet. Some people are sticking true to the show's good. Some people are, sticking true to the show isn't, aka me.
All the people
But
that are sticking to this series being good, sorry to interrupt, are the people that were saying that the book of Boba Fett is like the Bible, and that we have different chapters that we can
yeah,
have that just totally just throw us in for a
hmm
whirlwind. Anyways, I'm gonna
yeah.
let you continue.
That was worth it. But yeah, I honestly forgot what I was talking about. But oh yeah, people shifting online. Yeah, so there's been a lot of people shifting in the direction of, yeah, okay, I see what you're saying now. Because for those that don't know, I posted a clip, or we posted a clip of me talking 2 weeks ago, saying the show was directionless. The only mystery is where the f the show is going. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Like I I don't know how to say this, but there was a lot of people coming at me there. I'll say a lot of angry comments, and it's just been interesting to see. I put out a very similar take. I just doubled down on that take almost, and yeah, almost no hate. I mean, people are saying that they're still sticking true to the show, but yeah, public opinion can sway very quickly.
Yeah, and here the Ghost Grenader says, my wife, who definitely fits into the casual Star Wars fan, just started laughing as soon as she saw Jack Black and Lizzo. To me, it just felt like something out of Spy Kids or something. Like I was like, Robert Rodriguez, what are you doing? Like you're just inserting all these like
Yeah,
cameos into your film. Like it felt like a Sylvester Stallone appearing in Spy Kids 3. I'm like, what is going on?
yeah.
So yeah, that is so funny. Thank you for sharing that with us. Cause
I agree with your
that's great.
wife, 100%. Yeah.
Let's see what else. Pete says, Ploco says, Bo and Din were great, and I like the Attack of the Clone vibes, but the other stuff, and he sends a crying emoji. Yep. I definitely had when I was watching this, I had a bagel for breakfast and orange juice. I'll just say that tears ran across my face and they fell into that orange juice and bagel. Made a soggy, soggy bagel. I was very sad.
Some story. What other comments do we got?
Ringmaster says, I found it a little sus that the Space Lizzo was trying to justify giving redemption to ex-space Nazi Jack Black. Yeah, that was, I don't understand. She's like, yeah, he's messed up a little. We've all made mistakes. I don't, it goes back to the amnesty program that the New Republic has, where it's just very flawed. So I don't know if that's supposed to be a recurring theme, with, post Empire, but it was just very weird to me, and I'm like, I don't know what they're running here, man. This is sketch. If you can't even control your own
Yeah,
house, how are you controlling a whole damn planet like that? That's crazy.
exactly. Bryson and Carl Weathers should have traded episodes. Well, Carl Weathers should trade his Twitter account in because he's still coming at me.
Oh,
um, we got a new user in here. How do we say this name? I'm
oi
gonna leave this to you.
jom. Okay, oi
Oi, oi,
oi
Giom.
jom. I'm gonna just say
Oi,
it like
Giom.
that. Sorry for that.
Welcome. So how did the Darksaber rules work anyway? Bo-Katan literally just picked it up from the ground. Din didn't lose it in battle, and Captain One Eye never used it in battle. Yeah, so I love this comment because does that mean Captain One Eye, if we're going to call him that, Captain One Eye, he was the ruler of Mandalore for about 2 minutes?
Yeah,
Are we just going with that? But yeah, the rules are just so like great, and I think that is sort of the point. But at the same time, it's a big roll of the eyes from me, I would say.
I mean, it did when we were starting up with Mandalorian. It did feel like they were trying to not retcon, but trying to like justify some things that have been laid previous in the in Rebels because we seen it in Clone Wars a couple times, but we just knew every time we'd see it, we'd learn some lore about it, and that just went for Star Wars as a whole. Because then when we saw it in Rebels, like there's a whole bonding thing that you have to do with the blade, which I thought we would see Din do, but obviously not. Um, so even when Darth Maul drops it, Sabine, picks it up and she has it and she's like, "This is mine now." And her mom even calls her out and it's like, did you defeat Maul in battle? And she's like, "No." By the way, Mandalorians for some reason are brutally honest. It's like you can lie. Sabine could have been
You
like, "Oh
can
yeah,
lie.
I took Maul
Gee,
down."
that's a
Like,
great lesson to impart on everyone, Mike. It's okay to lie.
it's okay to. I mean, a white lie never hurt anybody. I mean, come on. It's like you don't have to be honest sometimes when it comes to that. So, but anyway, Sabine had it, and her mom questioned her. How she came upon it. It's like, I kind of just found it on the ground, and then she's like, "Then you have no claim to it." It's like, oh
Yeah,
damn, okay, well,
exactly.
what else am I
Um,
gonna do it to you? But then she passed it to Bo-Katan, and with Din here, he actually defeated Moff Gideon, and he took the Darksaber. So it's like, I don't. It's just,
yeah, it's
it's
convoluted.
messy.
Well,
It's messy.
Oidrum says, by that logic, couldn't I just trip the guy currently owning the Darksaber, and if they fall and the Darksaber falls out of their hand, I can just pick it up and it's rightfully mine? Yeah. By the logic, yes, you can. The rules, yeah. I, I'm not as fussed about like it being a technicality. The only reason that is doesn't feel right to me is because it's not a compelling story to tell. However, I think what they're going for is that some rules in religion are convoluted and don't make sense, and people do just pick and choose what they decide to follow and what they don't, and that's been a theme of the show throughout. So in that sense, I don't really mind it, because I feel like there's actually something to be said there. But yeah, overall, I don't know. I'm just a guy who dishes out mid takes. So what do I know?
What do you know? What do I know? It's almost 1 a.m. and I'm talking about Lizzo and Jack Black and Christopher Lloyd. By the way, I just love Christopher Lloyd. He was in, I don't know if you kids remember, but he was in Cyber Chase Kids that came out on PBS here in the US, and he played a character named Hacker, green big guy, and then obviously he's from Back to the Future, as we all know, and so I was excited to see him in Star Wars, and he just became, like he was a Dooku shill, a Dooku stan. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to portray some people on Twitter, how they be acting about this show. But anyways, um, yeah. Is there Ringmaster says no one tell the Mandalorians that Darth Sidious defeated Maul, but he was wielding the Darksaber, thus making all of this conflict kind of pointless. Good luck finding zombie Palpatine on Exegol. Yeah,
Hey,
but
well,
I mean,
doesn't that mean Rey now is the ruler of Mandalore because she
ooh,
defeated Palpatine? Oh
it,
man, some people are not going to be happy about that. I'll tell you what.
oh man,
Here
I
we
just
go.
there's so many threads that seasons 1 and 2 have laid the groundwork for, and it's like you think that the season would spend some time, working on those threads or building the bigger picture, but we're not. Like it just like sure there's little things here and there, but it's like if you're not even addressing some of the things that season 2, 1 and 2 did, it's like then what are we doing here? I just feel like this whole season we're following one big subplot and it's just going nowhere. It's not executed properly. I it just feels like we're killing time. Like John Favreau's like, "Oh, we have like 9 seasons. We don't have an end in sight. And as long as Disney Plus gives us money, we're going to keep running with it." And it just feels like this is just a filler season.
Exactly.
I don't
Yeah,
like saying
because
filler,
people are
but
going to keep posting on Twitter, "Oh my god, I cried when Grogu ran." And that's what's going to keep money pumping into the show and just endless garbage just being put out onto Disney Plus.
someone
Yeah.
said that that scene with Lizzo and or Duchess Lizzo and Grogu when she was doing that little like I don't know throwing like that beetle across in that game, and they said that it looked like a I saw on Twitter it looked like a Verizon commercial during the Super Bowl. That's how it looked like it was shot when it's like It's like what happened to the lighting in this show, the cinematography, just making it look
Yeah.
um making it look like a feature film and all that, and now it looks like, hey, here's our celebrity of the week type thing. Like, again, I would have loved to seen Lizzo and the Mandalorian anytime, or Jack Black, but I'm just like, you guys just play that like goofy card of like, let's just play of their personas and make it look extra extra goofy. Like, come on. That's you know
Yeah.
it's kind of maddening to me, because I'm like, man, I would have loved to see Lizzo be an actual Duchess or something. It's like, no, let's just make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
Fine, whatever.
I love this comment from Ringmaster. Scoffs politics, says Bo-Katan, who attempted to overthrow a government.
That's very funny. That's very funny. Very true though. Very true.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Ghost Grenada has a take. George Lucas said he made Star Wars for kids. This season to adults feels like it epitomizes being geared towards kids. My kids have been all about every single episode.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, you probably have to be below the age of 6 to even enjoy the show, to be honest, because um, that's about the that's about all the only audience it could appeal to. No, I'm kidding,
I
of course,
mean,
but yeah, I
yeah.
don't know. I don't really feel like this is a good example of Star Wars being geared towards kids, and my criticisms have nothing to do with it being geared toward kids, but that's just me.
I feel like I think this is definitely, at least the Mandalorian, the statement that they've made is like they're a family show. Do I expect Shakespearean writing every week? Of course not. Do I expect this to be on the level of Andor? Of course not. But I expect it to be something what, the first episode of the show, the thesis statement of the entire thing showed us. And it was like, oh my God, this could be a space spaghetti western, but geared towards a family that could make this watchable. Because if you actually go out there and watch a western, I don't think that's for everybody. I would probably fall asleep because there's little to no talking. The music kind of takes over sometimes in the scenes. There'll be just moments of walking throughout the desert and reaching a destination in silence. You would just have sound effects, the wind rustling in the air. So it's like, season one did that perfectly, and that's a season one is just a comfort show to me. Like, it's just so comforting because I get to hear all that, especially in the first 3 episodes. But then it's
Mike,
like,
we've got a bit of smoke for you. You know nothing about westerns.
oh, right to my chest.
They
You got
got you.
me.
They got you. They got you.
You got me before I could pull my
You know
blaster.
nothing about westerns, bro.
I'm I'm dead outside the saloon, man. You got me. Um, so, but yeah, there's your little Western plug-in for the week. Maybe
Yeah.
we could have Parks. Parks was dressed as a cowboy for Halloween. Maybe he
Yeah.
could have a talking to Scampoli here.
Scapoli.
Um, Pete says,
Ringmaster.
"Oh, you want to read Ringmaster?"
Sure. The episode kind of looked like an episode of Teletubbies. Honestly, not wrong. It did just look like it was filmed in a park, at least the end of it.
Actually, you're not wrong, Ringmaster. That's so funny.
Yeah.
Pete says,
Austin. Oh.
Westerns.
Sorry.
See, Westerns
You
aren't for
go.
everybody.
Yeah.
Pete says, I expect it to be like that the first 2 seasons in terms of quality, LOL. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
you think they
exactly.
would be building up, but this one just fell flat on its face, like production quality. Even
Yeah.
you said about the alien costumes, they look just
They're just all
horrendous.
reused. This episode they just had Frog Lady costume, yellow edition, Frog Lady costume, blue edition. I know Star Wars has done that forever, but that's because it used to, have no budget or whatever. But
Right.
this is like this show has one of the biggest budgets in all of television. Like I don't know, do we have to reuse costumes every episode? It feels a little bit goofy. Or it's like C3PO blue. Which is like, oh,
And like
okay.
last week I was very impressed with the Zeb design, where I'm like,
That
oh
was good.
man. I was
But
like, wow.
they were running out of costumes so bad that they had to rush it in there. Just be like, oh, just put Zeb in because he's done and looks good.
Zeb looked great, and it's
Yeah.
if we got that type of quality for visual effects every week, on point. But it's
Yeah.
not. Ugnaughts look great though.
Man, the Ugnaughts looked like me when I was watching the episode.
No, the Ugnaughts, there was one that looked exactly like Keel. And I was like, okay, interesting. But I did, you know what? I did like that moment a lot when I guess Keel is a name of legend. When Din walked in there and was
Yeah.
like
It's
and no
cool. And they're like,
and yeah, they like all turned. It's like, oh my god, and then use the line of "I have spoken," and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about that. Like that, even though I just rewatched season one, I'm like, wow, I totally forgot about that. So that was a nice callback. I love when shows are self aware of their initial runs and everything. So of their freshman season to
yeah,
say.
absolutely. Scampoli's got another comment for you, Mike.
What do you say?
There was something so satisfying about watching Din kick battle droids.
You know nothing about kicking nor battle droids, so we move on.
So we do move on. Exactly. All Ugnaughts know him or something? Yeah, I think they do, Austin. Yeah. What else do we have to say about this episode? I'll tell you what I have to say. If you're one of the 8 people in here and you haven't subscribed, you haven't liked the video yet, go ahead and do it because we'd appreciate that. But yeah, what else is there to be said?
I'm very interested in where the next episodes will go. Look, can the season still be saved? Sure, it can. These next 2 episodes can totally blow us out of the water and be like, okay, does that fix what just came prior? No, but I love that it stuck the land. I mean, look at Obi-Wan. It lost people during that Fortress episode, and we were like, what is this series doing, man? Even the third one started to slip a little, but then we got the Fortress episode and people were starting to check out. Then the fifth one came along and people either really liked it and thought it was the best Star Wars thing ever. Some people were like, yeah, that was okay. And then the finale just stuck it to make it feel like a whole enlightening experience when it's like wasn't all like that. Now we have more episodes here, but for me, this is genuinely the first one that I'm just like I enjoyed somewhat, but overall, I think it's my least favorite Mandalorian episode ever. Like I'd rather watch that stupid kid bounty hunter track down Fennec. Like I just rather watch that one, Dave Filoni's episode there, the gunslinger.
Yeah. Ghost Grenada says, my bad. I was the missing like and subscribe. Thank you, Ghost Grenada.
Thank you, Ghost Grenada.
Scampoli's back. Mike, you still know nothing about Westerns or Star Wars. Oh, you're cool. See ya.
I love the Beavis and Butthead. I think that represents me and Ari very well. Thank you, Scampoli, for stopping by. Oh yeah, Toro Kalikon. Sorry, didn't mean to disrespect his name like that.
Yeah.
Ringmaster says, "Do you guys think Moff Gideon will appear in episode 7? Are they saving him for the finale?" Right, they left us on such a cliffhanger about who broke Moff Gideon out of that shuttle, and this is the episode we got.
This is the episode we got.
This feels like Shroud of Darkness, leaving off on that powerful moment. And next week we got Chopper shopping for a leg, which is fine because it's animation.
Because it was well executed and it's animated, and there's 23 episodes in that season.
Right. It's like, okay, cool. You guys want to throw this at us? Sure. But here, yeah, now we got to wait like another 2 years for Mando season?
Yeah. You know what I love is that Giancarlo Esposito was on like the whole media tour of Mando season 3, and Jon Favreau was probably sitting there like, oh, we're so gonna get him all, like, and when he's not even in the series, and we're all just sitting here like, gee, great. Like I don't know. You asked the question, can the season be saved? Oh, it's hard to say. I'm gonna say probably not. It's pretty hard to save it from here, in my opinion. I think the show's pretty long gone, and my investment is very downhill. But can it? I mean, I guess it can, and I hope it does. But I don't think it will. Prove me wrong, Jon Favreau.
I'm very prove him wrong. I'm very hopeful that the next 2 episodes will absolutely deliver and be like, okay, this season was worth it, you know. And which
I don't think I could ever hear myself saying this season was worth it.
We'll see. We'll just give it some time. Austin says, my biggest issue is It feels like this season is just a build up for other things, whether it's setting up the politics of the era or directly setting up Ahsoka and skeleton crew. Feels that way. Yeah, and I mean, like Marvel does this all the time, but it's just like, why are we focusing on then? Why aren't we focusing on now? And the one who a big example of this that did it so crap like was the Amazing Spider-Man 2, where they kept like setting up for the future and teases and oh my god, the Sinister Six movie's coming out, and they didn't focus on the now, and that movie ended up being, you know, you can say whatever you want about Andrew Garfield and him being great, but that movie stunk. And that it feels like we're just like focusing on the future when we should be focusing in on now. I don't want to go back and rewatch the series and be like, oh yeah, they're setting up for all the future connections. Oh my
Yeah,
god, the
exactly.
TIE fighters,
Yeah,
the reason the TIE fighters were sent, they were sent by Thrawn. It's like great, but what about now? Like, it was a
yeah,
cool chase sequence, but what's the substance in it? What are the stakes? I want to
yeah.
know.
Paul's in here and he says, honestly, I think the show can still stick the landing. Mando has kicked into top gear the last couple episodes in the previous seasons.
Hi, Paul.
Yeah, I'd say the show was in a pretty good gear throughout all the seasons, and in this series, it's just the gear is just I don't know how I don't drive a car, so I don't know how gears work, but
I
you
will
know what
say
I'm saying.
season one felt, because season two, it just felt like we were climbing up and up and up. Season one felt like we were lost in space with Din and Grogu a little bit in the best way possible because they were on the run from all the hunters. So they were just on the run. But then when they got pulled back into reality was it when they got that call from Grief Karga in season in one of the episodes. I think it was at the beginning of episode 7, but it was season 6. And then that's when things started rolling, and episode 7 of season 1 started setting up a lot of what happens at the finale. So I mean, they could definitely pick up some breadcrumbs here and there spread throughout the season and build towards a powerful finale. They can definitely do that, but they have an uphill battle to do so. So yeah, they could definitely still stick the landing. I think they will, but it's gonna be a hell of a tough time to do so. But I believe in,
Yeah.
if it was other directors, I'd be like, oh man, we're in. But it's because Rick Famuyiwa is at the forefront and is having the driving controls. You know, I'll give him a chance. I'm hopeful. I'm up there being like, we're all gonna live through this. We're gonna survive. So I don't know. For me, I think we'll make it through.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I like this comment from Austin. Like this season, this is season 2.75 or something, and they're just too scared
Right.
to commit to a Mandalorian season. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. It does feel like that a bit.
It feels like Diet Mandalorian. This is not,
Yeah.
this is not the Mandalorian series. We forgot to put the in front, so it's just Mandalorians. Because it's like, why is Bo-Katan? Look, I love I've been raving about Bo-Katan since like the first one of this season, and episode 2 as well. And I even just got her helmet, and I'm just like, oh my god, Bo-Katan is this and that. But I'm like, why are you up in Din's sauce? Like, this is Din's show. I know it's called The Mandalorian, but who's The Mandalorian? It's not called The Mandalorian. It's called The Mandalorian. Who is that? It's Din Djarin. So I don't know. For me, Bo-Katan, they're shining too much light on her and her story when it should be about Din and Grogu. Because we all wanted some separation between Din and Grogu for a bit, but it's like, what? You're making faces. This
So
usually means
you
trouble.
just dropped out for me, but I don't know if that, I don't know if that was for me or for everyone.
Interesting.
Did Mike just drop out for you, or was that just for me? Anyway, continue.
Let me see what people have to say unless I have to repeat. Let us know in the comment live chat. Fair enough. But
John
yeah, we
Favreau
were
was
all,
trying to cut us off.
I know. Doesn't want us to speak the truth. But I mean, they all, we were wanting to, I think it was just for you.
X
Okay. Thank
Ringmaster.
you,
Yeah,
Ringmaster.
must have been.
Yeah. Look, we all wanted some separation between Grogu and Din. And I think I would have loved to see that, and we did see that for a bit in Book of Boba, but it should have been expanded. I don't think for a whole season, but it should have definitely been extended because it just feels like we're still trying to find our purpose in this. And it feels like,
Yeah.
oh, shoot, we don't know what to do with Din's character, throw it to Bo-Katan. And I felt like they did this in Book of Boba Fett, where they didn't really commit to Boba's character and they were scared to do something with his character. So they threw the spotlight back to Din and he took over the rest of the series. And that's what they're doing here. They don't know what to do with Din, so they're throwing it to Bo-Katan because they know where to go with her character. So I don't know. Seems panic. Seems panicky and
Yeah.
very wishy-washy for me.
No, I'm with you. Do we want to have some summarizing thoughts before we wrap it up here?
Sure thing. Yeah, you lead us off.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to how I feel about the show besides that my current feelings are just solidified. I think the show lacks meaningful direction. It's unfocused. Any moment of impact just falls completely flat. And yeah, the show is a mess for me, but can it be saved? It's possible, but unlikely. But I want to be proven wrong.
I think I think it's likely, and it does have some chances, so it could be, this season at least saved. And I mean, look, season 4 can be an absolute banger because they,
Yeah, exactly.
some like
Shows
look,
do that all the time.
yeah, just recently with Stranger Things season 3, I watched season 1, think it's great. It's the magic, it's the lightning in the bottle, same how I think Mandalorian season 1. Season 2, kind of similar to season 1, but it has similar beats. Same with the Mandalorian, but it's still pretty damn good. Like it still does try to, at least Stranger Things season 2 tries to do something different than season 1. They even have an extra stuff, 8 episodes. They have 9 episodes. Season 3, that is the season where they feel they just built everything up. They have all the characters built up, and they do something that's kind of like we're just gonna try to make a big, gigantic, kind of goofy summer camp movie, and that's what they come out with, like a summer blockbuster movie. But I try to watch it and I'm like, just from the dark tones that was season 1 and season 2 have about trauma and stuff, season 3 is just goofy and an 80s vibe, and I'm like, eh, it's great, but it just feels like wacky, goofy fun, and we don't know where we're going until and then that's when I'm like, well, I like the season. I'm getting tired of Stranger Things. And then season 4 comes out and blows it out of the water, and it's like, oh my God, it's like the best season ever. I still believe Mandalorian can redeem itself in that regard. It's like, okay, great.
Yeah.
They struggled this season.
I
That
agree
doesn't mean
with
the
that,
show's
definitely.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think it means the show's over. I just think the season in itself is very hard to be saved.
for sure.
But season 4 could be amazing. Like,
Look,
I have no
yeah,
doubts on that.
I
They could absolutely turn it around.
yeah. I struggled with like just I'm saying it because it's a recent show. I struggled with Stranger Things like season 3. Not when it came out. I loved it when it came out, but when I try to rewatch, I'm like, oh, this is so hard to get through sometimes. But then the finale makes it all the worthwhile. So, like I said,
Yeah, right.
we don't know, but we'll see. But this episode, I wish we had like sound effects in here, like a little DJ board, and just play them. But for me, I'd probably give it a 4.5 out of 10. I
Yeah.
just did not like it. I don't know when's the next time I'll even sit down and watch this one, but it was just pain to watch and get through. I literally checked my remote to see how many minutes were left, like 5 or
I
6
th-
times.
yeah.
So
I reckon after 12 beers I could withstand watching this episode.
not
Um
13,
yeah,
just
maybe
12.
15. Maybe
Oh
I
my
probably would have to be
gosh.
unconscious to bear it. So yeah, I'm going to give it a 4. And I am pretty much 6 and above with everything Star Wars. Like the episodes of the Bad Batch that people thrashed on, I gave them minimum was 6. But this episode is a 4. It's the worst episode of the series. It is probably. Ooh, this is hard to say because I'm thinking about Book of Boba finale, but I'm going to say it is the worst episode of Star Wars live action. Right down there with, I should say, the Book of Boba Fett finale. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Anything else to say, Mike, before we wrap it up?
Fair. No, I think that's about it. Look, we got 2 episodes. Make sure to stay with us. We want to experience this with you guys because we're gonna
We're
need your
crawling
help.
to the finish line.
We're,
We're
we're
crawling
really
to the
we're
finish
really
line.
crawling to the finish line. Just 2 episodes left. Yikes.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Ahsoka, will it be any good? I don't think so, but we'll see.
It's not looking great, is it? But we will watch with an open mind.
Yes, we will. So, that I want to read Ringmaster's final comment that he will cap this off.
Yeah.
He says, "I'm looking forward to the season 3 finale where Jack Black defeats Bo-Katan and becomes the rightful ruler of Mandalore. You heard it here first. An exclusive
That's
for the
right.
Star Wars Exchange." Thank you,
Yep.
Ringmaster. Thank you, Ryan.
For sure. Yeah. So for those listening live or the replay gang listening, make sure you follow us at the SW Exchange on Instagram. As always, subscribe on YouTube. Give us a 5-star rating on all the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We really appreciate that. Write us a nice review. Does not go unnoticed. We really appreciate the support. Star Wars Celebration's coming up. We don't have a clear plan of how we're covering it, but I assure you it will be getting covered on this channel. So make sure you subscribe to stay tuned with all the latest Star Wars news. And of course, Mandalorian reviews. We will see you all next week. I'm Ari. That's Mike. That's Mike. And we'll see you next week. May the Force be with you. Adios.
Bye.